Okay, we got something going. All right. Okay. I'm gonna get all the way prepared for this. All the way prepared. Make sure my mouth isn't dry. Like, seriously. Tissue. Hey lady, welcome back to the ladies room, and today I'm doing my first book review. My first book review, bringing the ladies room to you. So today we are reviewing Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson. I hope you could hear me. I'm trying to project my voice, and let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, so this segment is the lit review or literacy review, and it was part of a segment I originally created called Lip and Reading, which maybe we should think of another name. If you have an idea for another name for Lip and Reading, put it in the comments. Let's see. Okay, the book is Just Mercy. Getting into the book. The book is Just Mercy. The author is Bryan Stevenson, and it is It is 314 pages, and I would say a moderate level of intensity as far as the reading, how hard it is to get through. At the beginning of the book, it starts out with Bryan Stevenson. He is a young attorney, and he is working with the it starts out with Bryan Stevenson, and he is working with the Equal Justice Initiative, I think it's called. And he's a young attorney, and he moves down south to work there. Well, maybe I think he's from the south, and he is working for this organization that helps people who are on death row get a stay or get off of death row. And I thought it was interesting the way it started, because him being so young and just entering the career field, he didn't really feel as secure with himself. I thought it was really funny. I read this passage at the very beginning of the book, which kind of had me interested. And he's talking, this is his first meet with, I believe his name is Jackson, and he's on death row, and he just was taken by his spirit and his sense of hope. And even though he came to the prison not having anything to tell him, like any good news to tell him, all he could tell him was just basically like, you have some more time. And the guy was just so grateful for that. And he says on page 9, I'm really sorry. Okay, I really don't know. I'm just a law student, not a real lawyer. I'm so sorry, I can't tell you very much. but I don't know very much. And it just was so relatable to me. So that was the beginning of the book, just getting into the character and him just taking on cases and learning more about how to navigate the politics of being on death row, or just the criminal justice system in general. You could go to school for so long, but until you actually get out there, it's hard to have the confidence and the experience. Once you get the experience, you'll have more confidence, I'll say. So that was the beginning of the book. And I noticed that in the beginning of the book, he was especially interested in the McMillan case. So he brings up the McMillan case, and McMillan was a man who was accused of murder, and he's on death row. And it's a really long story to get into, and it was very racially charged in the South at the time. I believe that this was the 80s or the 90s, around that time when Stevenson was just starting and really getting into his career. And so McMillan, he met with him on death row, and once he started looking at the case and doing his investigation, he saw that it was a tremendous miscarriage of justice, and the pushback he got because of the politicization of the case made him even more eager to actually expose the truth, which I thought was really interesting, and it grabs you as a reader because it's based on it's a true story. So of course you're automatically drawn to what is going to happen with this particular case. Towards the middle of the book, this is what I want to talk about. Towards the middle of the book, they start talking more about the politics behind the case and the racial undertones as far as the sentencing. They start to talk about the divide within the racial justice system. And at the time, this was when the Black Lives Matter movement was picking up some speed after the murder of George Floyd. And it was really hard to get through this piece of the book because of the relatability. As he's talking to McMillan, he's talking to other people on death row who, even if they weren't innocent, their circle, who they are, who they were born, set them up to be I'm trying to find the right words. We all know. So it was at a time where I was reading the book during a shifting political climate, we'll say. And this is when he started, and before we got into the next piece, I had stopped reading the book, and because I felt like slightly stressed with the material, I switched to some lighter books like Goosebumps and The Secrets of Mary Bowser, which if you guys want to review, let me know. Leave it down in the comments. But I let this book go for about a year. And then I started a for a few months, 5 months, maybe 5 months. And I started a challenge, and I said it was Pick That Book Back Up Challenge. I think it was called, on Lip and Reading. And I wanted to pick this book back up again because I felt like I was in a better space mentally to read the book, absorb the material, and give my comments in a way that that was more intentional. And I wanted this to be my first book review because of that. So I did the pick the book back up challenge, and after that it still took me a little while to read, but not nearly as long, because like I said, it was just a different space that I was in, as far as the racial divide in this country, the just so many different social issues that go into it. Let's see. So I did the pick the book back up challenge, and towards the middle of the book, I got back into the middle of the book, and this was about the time where Stevenson started case grouping. So he realized that he wasn't going to be able to make as much systemic change unless he started grouping cases together and attacking, and challenging the principles on which our laws are built. So I thought that was really cool, a really in-depth look at organized activism, which I am a proponent, which I am a strong believer in organized activism. That's DMX in the background. R.I.P. Okay, so then at the end of the book, he talks a little bit more about how to, what mitigating circumstances are, and how to litigate a case, and really looking at those groupings of cases and taking it a step further and using that as an avenue for change. For example, he took a couple different cases where children were sentenced to life in prison. A lot of them were murder trials, of course. However, he challenged that this punishment doesn't necessarily fit the crime based on the fact that this is a child. And there was a trend at the time. I believe that this was a little later in his career, maybe I think 2000s. And he challenged that trying these children as adults, because the age of children being tried as adults was going up, and it was to the point where the prisons were so overswelled. And so picking out those certain cases and saying, this group of cases proves my point that this is an unfair and unjust sentencing or treatment. As a matter of fact, the cases were so heartbreaking. He talked about children that he met within prison, and just the additional trauma. They're not coming out the same. And then we come back to the McMillan case. So all throughout the book, the McMillan case is going on. He's talking about that, and it ended up that he had to go all the way up to the higher courts to get, first to appeal. He had to do multiple appeals, and the appeals were struck down because of the corruptness of the system, the systemic oppression, systemic racism. So he gets into all that in the book, and it was quite incredible to see for 300 pages. I thought it was incredible. Let's see. He also talks about mercy as a vehicle of change, and especially when he was talking about the children, how children are still developing. And one of the cases, and one of the justices in the higher courts helped him get some of the prosecutions overturned for these children, because he had himself been a delinquent minor. So it just proves the point. And I thought that was interesting. I thought it was really interesting. Let me see. I thought that the book, overall, I thought that the book was relatable. I thought it was succinct. I thought that the message was very clear, that justice I thought that I thought the message was very clear that with justice there has to be equal mercy, and I thought that that was a really good point to drive home throughout the book, and especially at the end of the book. I thought that the book promoted hope. I was felt lucky to be able to absorb some of the wisdom in the book, from the book. I thought, you know how you know it's a good book? You know how you know it's a good book? When you feel all of the things. Like when you feel happy, you feel sad, then you feel angry, then you feel glad, then you feel indifferent and joyous and all of that. I felt all of that in the book. So, okay, so the end. My ratings, I would give it a 9 out of 10. It was hard for me to finish the first time, like I said, because of the circumstances, the timing. I give it a 9 out of 10. I think on lip and reading, I was giving my books bananas. So we'll go with 4 to 4.5, 4 out of 5, or 4.5 out of 5 bananas. Okay. Also, since this was a true story, the Macmillan, his first name is Walter, they actually have, I saw it posted on YouTube not too long after the new movie came out. There's a new movie about this book, based on this book, and I definitely want to see the movie. If you've seen the movie, link down in the comments what you thought, because I really want to see the movie. And there is also live footage of 60-minute interviews with Walter Macmillan, which I am definitely going to watch next. Let me know if you want to review. And I just, like every other book I read, like Bluebird, Bluebird, I had to hear the song. I want to see the 60-minute interview, and I want to know more about it, just like any other book. Any other good book. Any other good book. So comment if you like this book. Comment if you watched the movie. Well, comment if you didn't like this book. Comment if you watched the movie, what you thought. And comment if you saw the real press coverage, or if you were actually around during the time. I would love to know that, what you thought, what it was actually like. That would be so cool to know. The bookmark, so just, the book is just Mercy. The bookmark I read with is actually a bookmark from Feel Good Friday. And Feel Good Friday is sponsored by Novant Health. And it is to promote the health and wellness of survivors of cancer. And I thought that that was really cool to share. I really love this bookmark, in case any of you were wondering what bookmark I was using. I guess that pretty much wraps up this review. We did it. Round of applause. We got through it. All right. So like, share, subscribe, and let me know what other books you're reading. What books are you reading? I want to know so many things in the comments. I should just start like a poll or something. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.